we start Chumash Shemos, defined by the Ramban as Sefer HaGolos VaGeula. And I said, if Chumash Bereshis is all about the Ovis, Chumash Shemos is primarily the persona of Chumash Shemos is definitely Moshe Rabbeinu. And Moshe Rabbeinu, it is clear in Bavli, in Yerushalmi, in Midrash Chazal, beyond dispute, beyond question, Moshe Rabbeinu was the greatest individual ever to live, ever to walk the face of earth. And he reached heights no one else ever reached or could reach. Not the Avos, not Malchi Yisrael, Moshe Rabbeinu, Yevomes Memtes, and many other sources was the greatest individual. What do we know about Moshe Rabbeinu? What do we know about Moshe Rabbeinu before he became Goel Yisrael, before he went before Paro, before he brought the Eden out of Eretz Mitzrayim? What do we know about Moshe Rabbeinu? The very first thing the Torah tells us about Moshe, Vayehi b'yom ha'mehem v'yigdal Moshe v'yetzi alecha v'yar b'sivlotam. Nosen einoi v'liboi, writes Rashi. He not only saw, he felt. He sees the pain of his brethren. Vayar b'sivloisam. Not coincidentally, Nosen einoi v'liboi liois meitzer aleim. He was pained by their plight. And that is the very first thing we learn about Moshe Rabbeinu. He was not only pained, he takes action. And then the Torah tells us, V'yarish mitzri make ish ivri miyechov, and v'yachas mitzri v'yatmineo b'choil. Many people feel the pain, but they're passive about it. They do nothing about it. Moshe Rabbeinu was active. V'yachas mitzri v'yatmineo b'choil. And the other day, b'yoyim hasheni, shnei ivrim notzim. We might think that Moshe Rabbeinu hates Goyim, and that's why he kills the Mitzri to save a Jew. But this time 2 Jews are fighting, and Moshe cannot see, he cannot look on passively. And he intervenes, Rosha lo masaka rayecha. And then to his shock and dismay, Misam chalish savishevit, halorgenu ata oimek asher horaktu as a Mitzri. And Moshe is terrified. He looked around, V'yarki einish, and then he realizes, Ochenoi dehadavar. And this might become public information, which actually happened. And he needs to flee. And he runs away. And he arrives in Midian. And then the Torah tells us, story number 4. ולכהן מידיין 7 בונס ותבואינו ותדלנו ותמלנו ושרותם לאשכ ציון אביהם ויבואו הרועים ויגורשום ויוקר מוישה ויושיען ויאשכ ציונם. Once again, Moshe gets involved. They were chased away by the Roim, and Moshe says, no, this is not right. And Moshe fights the Roim that chased them away, v'yoshi'em. You got into trouble once and you need to run away. When will you become sensible? You want to get into trouble again? Moshe cannot see wrongdoing and not intervene. So before we learn about the Torah of Moshe and the Kedusha of Moshe and the greatness of Moshe, all the Torah tells us about Moshe is Vayar b'sivloisam. And he always tries to be helpful, putting his own life in danger, but doing the right thing and being active and not passive and trying to right a broken world, trying to fix a broken world. And that is part of the greatness of Moshe Rabbeinu, and the greatness that is demanded and required and expected of every Manig Yisrael, because Moshe is the model of all teachers of Torah throughout the ages, and all Manhiga Yisrael throughout the ages. So this Sefer Shemos, is about Golos and Geula. And the Mekabolim, hundreds of years ago, revealed the side of Shoivavim. Shuvu Bonim Shoivavim. Shoivavim is Rosh Tevis, Shmois ve'ero boi b'shar achisa mishpotim. And these weeks are days which are mesugal for tshuva, for tikkun, and that is in the Shla Kodesh and the Ria Kodesh, going back more than 500 years. And the Baal Shem Tov explained the posuk Korvo el Nafshi Ge'ola in Tehillim, and we say that every Leil Shabbos Kodesh by Kabbalah Shabbos. So the Baal Shem Tov explains that every Jew has his own personal Golos Mitzrayim and his own personal Geulas Mitzrayim. What is that? The Neshama Kedosha, the holy Neshama, comes down to this world, and it is tied together with the Guf. And all the temptations and Yetzer Hara that come together with it. So that is the Golos of the Neshama in this physical world, with all its negativity and nisyonis. And when a person redeems his Neshama and fights his bodily temptations, that is his own personal Geulas Mitzrayim. And when a person achieves his own personal redemption and Geula, that is his contribution to hastening, to bringing forth the Geula Shalema, and that is Korvo el Nafshi Geula. My own Geulas Nefesh is what I can do to bring forth the Geula Shalema. And that is what Shoivavim is all about. When we read the Parshas of Golos Mitzrayim and Geulas Mitzrayim. So in days of yore, hundreds of years ago, Chasidim v'Anshe Masa used to fast and torment themselves, and that was Tikkun HaShevavim. The great Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov, the Oyev Yisrael, was a Talmud of the Noam Elimelech in Parshas Vayechi, the Bas Ayin, Zera Kodesh, the Rab Shetzarov, the Rebbe of the Divrei Chaim of the Tzanzer in Parshas Boi. They all say, in later generations, Tikkun HaShavavim is Torah. Learn, and learn more and even more. Torah Shebal Peh and Halacha, that is Tikkun HaShavavim. So these days and these weeks, it is a special zgula to add on to our learning. Add on one more shir, do the Daf Yomi twice, add on some Musa, add on some Halacha. That's Tikkun HaShovavim, Talmud Torah. So let us hope that in these weeks, when we read the Parshas of Golos and Geula, we should be Zoicha to an Itaruta de Tata, should bring an Isarusa de la Eila, and we should be Zoicha to see the Geula Shalema and Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mheru v'yomeinu amen.